POV. One thing I'm not afraid to admit as a grown woman is that I have failed many times at different businesses, right? I've lost money, I've lost time, which is the most important currency. And yeah, like I've failed at many businesses and I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm not going to say that everything that I've done has automatically taken off or that I was ill prepared. Like, yeah, so I'm going to share these things in this video. I'm going to tell you guys what I did wrong. So hopefully you don't make the same mistake and you can keep the money in your pocket. But yeah, let's just get right into the video. My name is Jada Brown Thompson. Thank you so much for stopping on by. And we're just going to get right into it. So before I get into it, let me tell you this. I have always wanted to be a business owner since I was like 5 years old. And I don't know if it's because like my parents were business owners, my grandfather is still in business after 62 years. Like I've just always wanted to be in business. And my mom used to tell me, like when I was 5 or 6 years old, I would say I'm opening a restaurant and I would print little menus and I'd get people from our community to buy with me. I used to sell lemonade, I used to sell candy apples. When I was in school, I had little businesses going. Like I've always wanted to be a business owner. But I realized once I left school and became an adult, my problem was that I didn't know what my passion was. Like I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but an entrepreneur in what? Like what do you have a business in? So that was my first mistake. So I always wanted to be a business owner, knew I would be a business owner. Anytime that I've worked a 9-to-5 job, I've always hated it. Like my first thought was like, I need to get out of here and do my own business. But business in what, girl? Like the business of being in business? Like no. So how am I gonna do this list? I guess I'll just go chronologically, I guess. All right, so I'm not going to talk about like hustles that I've done because like I used to sell drinks when I was in college, things like that, because those were not really legitimate businesses. Those were more like I want to make a few dollars and I don't want to go get a job. So I'm not going to talk about those because I've done a lot of little hustles and they go well. I'm going to talk about businesses that I have registered, did all the right things for, and those have failed. So I'm going to start with the clothing company in Jamaica, right? So I made many videos talking about the fact that me and my family are going to move to Jamaica. And so in 2017, 2018, I had a clothing company there and it was called Kingston Closet. And so what I was doing was I would buy clothes when I was living in Florida. I would buy clothes and I would either buy them from like Ross or TJ Maxx or like the Swap Shop. If you're from South Florida, you know the Swap Shop. Or I would order them online and then I would pack them in different suitcases and then eventually barrels, and I would send them to Jamaica. And when I would get to Jamaica, I would sell them, and then the clothes that didn't sell, I would leave them with a trusted friend. They would sell it for me and then they would put it in my bank account in Jamaica and keep their portion. So I was doing that for a while, and my plan was to open a store. Like I even got a realtor and I was like, I'm gonna open a store. And this business was so unsuccessful because I would get money and it would be like good to me because I'm like, oh, I'm making money. I bought this for $500 and I'm selling it for $2,500, right? And so I'm like, yes, I'm making money, I'm profitable. But then when I started like taking it seriously and started running the numbers, I was like, this is not actually a successful business because number one, how much should it cost for me to fly to Jamaica? How much should it cost for me to clear these things? How much did it cost like, it just didn't make any sense. And when I started running the numbers, I'm like, I am not profitable at all. I don't even think I'm breaking even because of the fact that I'm going back and forth with these clothes. If anything, it may be paying for my trip, but that's not a successful business, right? So eventually I just stopped doing Kingston Closet because it just wasn't making sense. And then like I was buying things like one like that. Like if I see this jumpsuit, I would buy the jumpsuit and then I would say, okay, I'm gonna put it up for this amount of money. I wasn't buying multiple sizes of something because I would just go for the cheapest thing that was in the store. And if I went to clearance and I saw something for 50 cents, I was just gonna buy that one thing instead of doing like a real business and buying multiple sizes, like small through large, small through extra large, whatever. I was just buying whatever I could find that was cheap and I knew people would buy. So this business is really like a hustle. And like I said, it really didn't make any sense once I ran the numbers because I wasn't doing it on a large scale where it was like something that was profitable. And so I just gave up, right? I just said, yeah, I'm done with this, moving on, right? So that was that. So that was Kingston Closet, okay? And I also used to buy like Bath and Body Works and like wigs. Like it was on anything I could get my hands on that was on sale. That is what I bought. Like that is it. All right. So the next company that I did was, so this is actually two. So there's JB Entertainment, as in Jada Brown, and then there was Trove. All right, so both of those were entertainment businesses. I'm gonna start with JB Entertainment. So when I started JB Entertainment, I was a real hot girl. Like honestly, I would be going to parties all the time. I was like always on the scene. Like if you call me, I'm there, right? That was me. And so when I was doing JB Entertainment, the point of JB Entertainment was to be like a, I guess, promotions company. Like I wanted to have parties, right? Have parties in Florida, have different little events, and then have people come there and spend their money, right? That was like the whole consensus of JB Entertainment. And honestly, I should have never quit doing that because it was going really well. Like I was making a name for myself. Like people would come to my events, but I just gave up. And I really don't know why. And that's one thing with business, like you have to be consistent and you have to keep going even if nobody says like keep going. You have to keep going. So I just quit JB Entertainment and I really do not know why. Like now that I'm thinking back, I don't know why I quit. I guess it just wasn't moving fast enough for me. And it even got to the point with JB Entertainment that people were calling me to like organize their events. Like I was getting, like people were putting me on flyers and stuff like that. And then like I would get calls for this fraternity. They wanted me to organize a flea market for them. Like, I don't know why I stopped doing JB Entertainment, but I should have never stopped doing that. And so I stopped JB Entertainment, and then a few years later, I started Trove Productions. And Trove was the same thing. So with Trove, I was still living in Florida at the time. And so I would have like grill and chill. And I would cook these different hot dogs. And I made like jerk hot dog, rude boy hot dog, plain hot dog, bacon and cheese hot dog, like all these different type of hot dogs. And then I would have my DJ friend make these little playlists, and I would play music and have people come and buy the hot dogs. And I would do like little parties. And like at one point I wanted to I did do a karaoke. Like I was just having all these different events in Palm Beach. And at the time, Palm Beach was like a boring place to live compared to Broward County and Miami-Dade County. So I would have all these parties and people would tell me like, keep doing it, keep doing it. But what ended up happening with Trove Productions is that I moved up to the DC area for better opportunities. And I don't know anybody here. So I just stopped Trove down there because I wasn't there. But that was another business that I should have kept going because I was really good with it. And people really liked me because I was real cool with like the Caribbean demographic. And then I was real cool with like the African American demographic. And so people would be like, girl, you should have kept doing it. You never know where it could have gone. But anyway, so that was a failed business. And then this is the most recent one. And this one really hurts me to the core because I feel like this one was not my fault why it failed. Actually it was. So I was going to open a restaurant, and the restaurant was going to be called Trove. So Trove was going to be a soul food restaurant in the heart of downtown West Palm Beach. And I lost a lot of money business, right? Everybody knows that the restaurant business is one of the hardest businesses to be in, but I was like so convinced that Trove was going to go well. And so the reason why I wanted to do this restaurant is because, number one, my grandfather owned the building, right? So I'm like, okay, my granddad owns the building, and one lesson to anybody out there: do not work with family. Do not put your trust in family, because family will let you down. All right. So my grandfather owned the building, and my plan was to just open it up, because the building, which is a restaurant, it was a restaurant before, the building had been closed for 3 years, right? And so going in, I already knew that it would need a lot of work. So I had to come in there and I had to renovate it because there was a leak. The flooring was damaged. I had to paint. I had to put in new laminate. I had to do all kind of stuff. So I already knew that this would need a lot of work, right? And I didn't even make my granddad put his money into it. I put my money into it. Found the guy to work on the restaurant, and my plan was to open this year, March. Well, what happened was my aunt was the property manager of the business at the time. Her and my granddad kicked off, and my granddad was like, you know what? To hell with all of this. I'm just going to close it. Even though I had already had the agreement to open the restaurant. Already started buying equipment. I mean, like, guys, and it's so hurtful to talk about it, because if this was just like a regular person, I probably could have taken him to court. But because it was my granddad, everything was just word of mouth. Everything was just like, oh, granddad, I'm going to do this. Granddad, I'm going to do that. We never had a signed lease. We never had any of this stuff. And I didn't do my due diligence, even though I know better. But because it was my family member, I'm just like, oh, they wouldn't do me like this. And my granddad was like, well, we could talk about it later, but I'm tired. I'm in my 80s. I don't feel like being bothered. So all the work that I had done in that building was suddenly just stopped. And like a lot of people said, oh, you could have fought him for this. But in my opinion, it wasn't even worth it. I think it was God telling me, don't even deal with family, because I imagine if I would have gone through everything to open. Mind you guys, I had already done the permitting. I already got the license from the city. I had my health inspection already. Like, I was really ready to open, just doing a lot of little things. But the reason why I did not fight harder to open the restaurant is because I'm like, okay, imagine if I would have gone through everything to open, and then my granddad starts saying, oh no, I'm going to raise the rent, or oh no, you have to close. I can't do nothing because this is not my building, and I'm not going to fight my grandfather, right? So my point is, now I know I don't work with family, period, point blank. I don't work with family, period, point blank. I am done with family, right? I'm only going to work with people that I know we have a written agreement, and if you violate this agreement, then I'm going to take your ass to court. And that's point blank, period. So I lost a lot of money with that business, but I gained a lot of knowledge. And of course, that's the most important thing. So those are the businesses that I have done that have failed. Again, it was my entertainment and production company, clothes business, and also the restaurant. And one thing I can say, guys, is that although those businesses failed and I lost money, I gained a lot of experience and knowledge. And that is the most important thing. So I'm not afraid to admit these things. We can all sit here and talk about our successes, but to me, those are important and part of the journey. So anyway, I will see you guys in my next video.